Welcome to Bellum Academiae, a series dedicated to learning on how to play the Bellis Antiquitatis 3.0. In this series, we will focus on overviews of elements used in the game, tips, tactics, and basic tutorials. Let's dive right in and begin our series with the overview of the blades element. In-game, they are described as fighting infantry, primarily skilled in fencing individually with swords or heavier cutting or cut and thrust weapons, such as Roman legionaries, huscarls, gallowglass, dismounted knights, halberdiers, billmen, clubmen, or later samurai. Rules-wise, they have a +5 combat factor against other foot elements, that drops to +4 if they are shot at. They have a +3 combat factor against mounted elements. They don't have any quick kill results in combat except for the scythe chariot. They will pursue any defeated foot element except the saloi. They provide a +1 flank support to any spear or solid bow element. They will destroy any cavalry or knight on a tie result. Let's analyze some important combat matchups that are most relevant to this element. For the sake of clarity, all statistical results have been rounded up or down, so if by adding them all together you get a result of something like 101 or 98%, that's the reason. Remember that in a fight between a solid and fast element, or a solid and a mounted element, a tie results in a recoil by the fast or mounted element. While fighting Auxilia, there's a 0% chance of the blades being destroyed. There's a 17% chance that the blades will recoil. There's a 11% chance of a tie. There's a 56% chance of the Auxilia recoiling, and a 17% chance of the Auxilia being destroyed. The situation is very similar when the blades fight an element of unsupported warbands, with the exception that there is a 17% chance of the blades being destroyed instead of recoiling. Supported warbands are one of the hardest counters to blades, with a 28% chance of destroying them, while only risking 5% probability of being destroyed in the fight. Unsupported spears have only a 28% chance of recoiling blades. There's a 53% chance that the spears will be recoiled themselves, and a 6% chance that the spears be destroyed. Supported spearmen, on the other hand, will fight blades on an equal footing with a 42% chance of either element recoiling and a 17% chance of a tie. A combat between a blade and an unsupported pike element results in a similar situation like with the Auxilia, which is very much in the blade's favor. Even with the massive +6 combat factor against foot elements of the supported pikes, there's only a 3% chance of the blade being destroyed. However, there's a 56% chance of the blades recoiling and a 0% chance of the pikemen being destroyed themselves, so this is a matchup that heavily favors the pikes. Hordes can pose quite of an obstacle for blades, as there is a 56% chance that the combat will result in both elements standing their ground, and a 17% chance of either the blades recoiling or the hordes being destroyed. In close combat, blades will do a quick work of bows, as there is a 50% chance of the bows being recoiled and a 33% chance of the bows being destroyed. During shooting, when the blade's combat factor drops to 4, there is a 17% chance of the blades recoiling and an 11% chance of a tie that will also result in a recoil if the blade's element is classed as fast. If the bows will have a single supporting element in shooting, there will be a 3% chance of the blades being destroyed, a 25% chance of the blades recoiling, and a 14% chance of a tie. Even with the maximum of 2 supporting shooting elements, the probability of destroying blades with shooting by a bow element is basically 1 to 10, with a 31% chance of a recoil and a 17% chance of a tie. This shows that blades are a great element to be used against bows. Blades and cavalry fight each other on equal footing, but because blades destroy cavalry on a tie, they are a good counter against them, with a 22% chance of the cavalry being destroyed, a 36% chance of a recoil by both elements, and a 6% chance of the blades being destroyed. This may lead to the assumption that blades might also fare well against knights that they also destroy on a tie, but actually knights are the hardest counters to blades in the game, with a whopping 42% chance of destroying them with the quick kill ability. There is also a 46% chance of the knights recoiling and a 22% chance of the knights being destroyed. A single element of light horse does not pose a significant threat against blades, with only a 3% chance of destroying them and a 25% chance of recoiling them. But because blades are unable to destroy light horse in an open field, light horse may be used to occupy them without taking any great risk. Supported light horse will only have a 6% chance of destroying blades, so there isn't a great justification for engaging two elements in this combat. Elephants pose a great threat to blades, as they themselves cannot be doubled by them, and have a 17% chance of destroying and a 56% chance of recoiling them. Scythe chariots have a 42% chance of destroying blades, but at the same time are destroyed by blades 58% of the time. However, the fact that scythe chariots do not come towards the enemy victory score, this might be a risk worth taking when using scythe chariots, especially if we can provide them with some support. Though Saloid pose no threat to blades by themselves, they can be used to harass them freely, as the worst case scenario for the Saloi is a 33% chance of a free outcome move. But keep in mind that blades will not pursue Saloi. So to wrap things up, the main takeaways are that blades are anti-infantry generalists, as long as not facing supported warbands or pikes. They are well suited to absorb shooting, but can find many matchups against mounted elements challenging, maybe except the cavalry. That will be all for this one. Let me know what kind of topics would you be interested in learning more about in the comments below, and if you find this kind of content informative or have any suggestions on improving the format. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.